After Natalie stood me up for the 5th time at the marriage registration office, something in me finally broke. I didn't hesitate. I blocked all her contact information right then and there. If friends invited me to gatherings where she might show up, I declined without a second thought. If I knew she liked a certain coffee shop, I'd take a detour just to avoid passing by it. Whenever the company organized group activities and she was included, I filed for leave immediately. Even on New Year's Eve, when she came to my door holding holiday gifts, I stayed silent inside my own home, pretending I wasn't there. I didn't answer her calls. I didn't reply to her messages. I erased myself from her life. I used to love her with everything I had, my moods rising and falling depending on how she treated me. But after the 5th time she stood me up, I finally understood something. I couldn't keep living like this. If being abandoned over and over again was all I would ever get from her, then I'd rather live quietly on my own. Chapter 1. Natalie stood me up again at the marriage registry, all because of Victor, her childhood best friend. I texted her. No response. I called her. No answer. The office was filled with couples, hand in hand, smiling as they prepared to sign their marriage papers. And I sat alone on a bench, feeling like an outsider in my own life. When the call finally connected, it wasn't Natalie's voice. It was Victor. Kevin, man, sorry. I got scratched by a stray cat. Natalie's with me at the hospital for a rabies shot. His tone was casual, comfortable even. Like he expected me to understand. Like this was normal. Like he was used to having her drop everything for him. And this was the 5th time. The last time, Victor had twisted his ankle, and she ran to take him to the ER. Before that, it started raining, and she rushed to bring him an umbrella. Before that, he got drunk at a bar in the middle of the day, and she dropped everything to help him. Every time. Every single time. It was always Victor, her childhood sweetheart. And every time, I was left behind. The office was about to close when a staff member approached me kindly. "Sir, are you still planning to register today?" I slowly shook my head. "No." She tried to be helpful. "If today's not convenient, you can always come back another." "There's no need," I said quietly. "I won't be coming back. Not ever." In the past, I would have felt angry, disappointed, desperate to make sense of things. But when I heard Victor's voice today, something inside me just stopped. No more panic. No more fear of losing her. Just a tired clarity. I typed one message. "We're done." Then I blocked her number, her WeChat, everything. Just like that, it was over. Chapter 2. I didn't want to go home, so I just walked. No destination, no purpose. Eventually, I found myself pushing open the door of a small coffee shop on the corner. The moment I stepped inside, the smell of roasted beans and the soft hum of jazz hit me. And that's when I realized. This was Natalie's favorite cafe. Even when I tried to avoid her, my habits were still shaped around her. Natalie and I worked at the same company. To be honest, she was the one who pursued me first. I still remember the day she joined. She was carrying way too many documents, bumped straight into me, and nearly dropped them all. Later, she told me that was the moment she decided I was the one. She said I looked clean, gentle, dependable, perfectly matching her ideal type. I thought she was just a clumsy, interesting girl. I accepted her friend request on WeChat without thinking much of it. After that, she started bringing me homemade lunches, inviting me out. Little by little, we naturally became a couple. 2 months into dating, I called her one evening, only to hear a man's voice answer. For a moment, I thought I dialed the wrong number, but then he spoke directly to me. "You're Kevin, right? I'm Victor. Natalie's in the kitchen making noodles for me. She'll call you back later." I heard Natalie humming in the background, pots and pans clattering softly. That was the moment I learned who Victor was. She told me he was a childhood neighbor who had just come back from studying abroad. Her tone was casual, but something in me tightened. A man's intuition never lies. The first time we all had dinner together, Victor walked in with his hand on her shoulder, and it stayed there the entire time. They sat together on one side of the booth, close, familiar, intimate. I, her boyfriend, sat across from them, like an afterthought. During the meal, they kept feeding each other, peeling shrimp, picking out fish bones, like it was completely natural. I tried to smile, to stay polite. I said lightly, "You two seem closer than I expected." Victor glanced at me with a half smile. "Relax, Kevin. We're childhood sweethearts. We just know each other better than anyone." He emphasized anyone, meaning I was the outsider. Then he joked to Natalie, "See? I told you Kevin would get jealous." Natalie frowned but didn't move away from him. "Don't say stupid things. Kevin's not petty." But she still placed a carefully peeled shrimp into his bowl, without even thinking. After that, every time Natalie and I had plans, Victor happened to need something. A cold, a lost key, stomach pain. And every time, she dropped everything for him. When I finally asked her to keep some distance, she brushed it off. Victor studied abroad too long. He's just more open. And we grew up together. If anything was going to happen, it would have happened already. Victor would provoke me openly, and she would act like nothing was wrong. I didn't know how to express how hurt I was without sounding insecure. Chapter 3. After wandering around, I eventually went home. As soon as I entered, I noticed a pair of women's heels by the door, the pair I'd bought for Natalie. Even though we didn't live together, I had given her a spare key. She was curled up on the couch, asleep. She looked exhausted. I walked past her without a word, hung up my coat, and went straight to the kitchen. I started cooking. I didn't look at her, didn't speak. Her voice came out rough, tired. "Kevin, why did you block me and stop answering my calls?" I tied my apron. "I already told you. I said we're done." She sighed softly. "All this just because I couldn't make it to the registration today?" Victor really was scratched by a stray cat. The wound. The 5th time, I interrupted. My knife hit the cutting board with a sharp, heavy sound. Her confusion was real. She genuinely didn't think she had done anything wrong. "So what?" she said. "Nothing happened the other times. Why are you suddenly making such a big deal about it?" I turned to face her. She looked completely lost. "Natalie, this is the 5th time you've abandoned me because of him." The chopped tomatoes were a mess on the board, their juice bleeding everywhere, just like the last bit of my patience. "So Victor can call you anytime, and you'll go running. But I can't even get you to answer your phone." She opened her mouth. No response. I exhaled a long, bitter breath. "Natalie, be honest. For the past few years, who has really been your boyfriend?" The silence in the kitchen was suffocating. Only the sink's slow drip could be heard. I walked to the door and opened it. "You should leave. Forget the marriage. We're done." Her eyes widened, panic finally breaking through. "What do you mean?" "I mean exactly what I said." I picked up the spare key she always left on the shoe cabinet. "Please go." She didn't move. She couldn't seem to process it. I gently but firmly took her wrist and guided her outside. "Kevin, are you insane? Just because of something this small?" I didn't answer. I just closed the door. What I felt most throughout this entire relationship was exhaustion. I was just tired. And I didn't want to be tired anymore. I needed to let go, before there was nothing left of me. Chapter 4. That night, I barely slept. Half awake, half dreaming, all I could see was Natalie and Victor. I dragged myself out of bed, went to the sink, and splashed my face, only to be startled by the reflection staring back at me. The man in the mirror looked exhausted, sunken eyes, messy stubble. I looked like someone who had been wandering through heartbreak for years. 3 years of pouring everything I had into one person, and this was what I had become. A wreck. A shell of myself. I asked myself quietly, was a relationship like that really worth ruining myself over? Since we were truly done now, I wanted to end things properly, with dignity. So I cupped my hands under the cold water and threw it against my face, letting the shock wake me up. I shaved clean, put on a freshly ironed shirt. Slowly, the person in the mirror began to look like me again, not that broken version who had been tugged around by someone else's decisions. Right when I was about to head out, my phone rang. "Kevin, same spot tonight for the group hang. And don't ditch us again just because of your girlfriend." I cut him off before he could keep going. "Is Natalie going?" He laughed. "Of course." Didn't you two go to register your marriage? We haven't even seen a wedding photo yet. I broke up with Natalie, I said flatly. Dead silence on the line. Then a stumbled reply. Be broke up? What? Since when? Yesterday. And listen, if she's going to be somewhere, just don't invite me. He was clearly thrown. He murmured something that sounded like sympathy and hung up quickly. But honestly, his reaction made sense. Everyone in our friend group knew how I treated Natalie, like she was something precious. I remembered once at a group dinner last year. She casually mentioned craving a trending cake from across the city. I drove through a thunderstorm to get it, returned soaked from head to toe, but I still held that cake box carefully, like it was something fragile. People teased me for spoiling her, but I just smiled, towel drying my hair. She's younger. What's wrong with taking care of her a little? She was 3 years younger, with a soft baby face. I always treated her like someone delicate, someone who needed protecting. I helped her finish work proposals, bought the brand she wanted, kept her drawer full of heat packs and snacks she liked. I practically tended every corner of her life. Her parents once joked that I'd spoiled their daughter until she couldn't live without me. But in all that time, I never once stopped to ask myself, did she ever care for the one who was taking care of her? After the call, I opened my social app and posted, "Long live singlehood," with a photo of the sunrise, gold light breaking through thick clouds, like I was finally stepping out of something heavy. My phone vibrated non-stop after that. Comments, likes, messages, shock, gossip, concern. But strangely, I felt light, relieved. I got ready for work, then saw a group message about a company team-building event. Natalie's name was on the list. I immediately applied for leave. Outside, the sun was warm. Trees swayed softly. Maybe I should go to the seaside. Let the salty wind wash the last of this heaviness away. Chapter 5. Hawaii had always been my dream destination. Last winter, I spent a month planning a trip there, down to the smallest detail. Even bought us matching straw hats. This time, no interruptions, she said. Not even Victor. But minutes before boarding, her phone rang. I can still see her face, the color draining from it. Victor got into a fight. He's in the hospital. I have to go. She didn't look at me, didn't even pause to think. Just dropped her suitcase and ran. That Hawaii trip disappeared in an instant. She apologized later, but we never mentioned Hawaii again. So this time, I went alone. And it turns out, the turquoise water and endless waves really can wash things out of your heart. I stayed there for a week, and slowly, the memories of her softened. Then Victor found out we broke up. He sent me pictures. 2 straws in 1 milk tea. Her leaning on his shoulder. Captions like, "I'll stay by your side forever. Real love is about staying, not choosing." I didn't react. Just saved each one, like I was collecting proof of foolishness. But today, I realized it meant nothing. So I blocked him. Deleted everything. Chapter 6. On my first day back at work, I took a longer route. The direct path past Natalie's favorite coffee shop. She'd probably be there around this time. Just picturing running into her made me walk 20 extra minutes. At the office, there were snacks piled on my desk, gifts from coworkers who had already heard the news. Work had stacked up while I was gone, so I dove into it. Ryan crept over, carefully studying my mood. Boss, I heard you and Natalie had a falling out." "Not a falling out," I said quietly. "A breakup." He hesitated. "Then what about the project with her department?" "Follow the company process," I replied. "Business as usual. Personal matters stay personal." At the break room door, I ran into Natalie. She had heavy dark circles. Her face was pale. I tried to walk past her, but she grabbed my sleeve. "Kevin, it's been days. You can't still be angry, right?" Chapter 7. I almost laughed. "Natalie, do you not understand? We broke up." She blocked my way. "Just because I didn't make it to the registry?" I let out a laugh, not because it was funny, but because of how tired I was. She really didn't understand. Some coworkers were pretending to walk by, obviously eavesdropping. "I don't want to argue," I said. "But when something is over, it's over. Stop showing up." I walked away. From then on, I threw myself into work. Any teamwork with her department, I reassigned. When I passed her in the hallway, I didn't look. I acted like she wasn't there. Until Friday afternoon, when the CEO called me in. "Kevin, the London branch position is still open," he said. "You turned it down before because of your relationship. That's not an issue anymore, right?" Half a year ago, I gave up a major promotion because Natalie said long distance made her insecure. Now looking back, it felt laughable. "I'll take it," I said. Signed the papers on the spot. Chapter 8. The transfer was arranged quickly. I'd be leaving right after the New Year holiday. On New Year's Eve, I was at a mall jewelry shop, picking out a gold necklace for my mom. While I was leaning over the counter, choosing designs, I heard someone call me from behind. "Kevin." I didn't need to turn to know who it was. But I did. Victor was standing there, hand tightly holding Natalie's. Their fingers interlocked. "We're here picking out couple rings," he said, raising their hands so I couldn't miss the matching rings. Natalie tried to pull her hand away, but Victor squeezed tighter, stopping her. Victor smirked. "And to think we have you to thank. If you hadn't stepped aside, who knows how long we would have kept pretending." His expression was full of triumph. Meanwhile, Natalie wouldn't even look at me. Her eyes were nervous, guilty, and ironically, just days earlier at work, she'd been begging me to come back. Now she was standing there, leaning into another man's arms like some fragile little bird. The kind of two-faced switch-up she just pulled even a Sichuan opera performer would be impressed. Originally, I had no intention of saying anything. We were in public, after all. I was just going to walk away and keep my dignity. But then I saw the smug look on Victor's face. And just like that, my decision changed. Why should I help them save face? If they wanted to put on a performance as the perfect couple, then as the ex, I might as well give them the review they deserved. I slowly adjusted my tie, relaxed my shoulders, and let a small, meaningful smile pull at the corner of my mouth. "You really enjoy picking up the things other people throw away, don't you?" The color drained from both of their faces. I let my gaze slide over to Natalie, slow, deliberate. "Well, I guess it makes sense. A cracked pot goes best with a broken lid. You two really are a perfect match." Natalie didn't say a word, just stood there, eyes empty, like she had completely shut down. Victor's face twisted into a dark, ugly shade of green. His carefully controlled facade finally cracked. "Kevin, since when did you become like this?" he snapped. "So what if you talk tough? I'm the one standing next to Natalie now." I gave a short, quiet laugh. "Oh, what's wrong? Does the truth sting a little? You're proudly parading a relationship you snatched like a homewrecker, and that's your big achievement." Victor reacted like someone just stomped on his tail. "You don't get it," he snapped, voice rising by instinct. "Natalie and I are childhood sweethearts. If you hadn't gotten in the way." I cut him off slowly, each word heavy and unhurried. "Oh, that's right. You were childhood sweethearts. And yet, after all those years, Natalie still didn't choose to marry you. Tell me, why do you think that is?" I let out a soft, mocking chuckle and shook my head. "You're the only third wheel I've ever seen who's this proud of himself. Truly iconic. You." He clenched his fist so tightly the veins in his arm bulged. Natalie quickly held on to him, desperately trying to stop him from exploding. Because she knew that last sentence had hit him exactly where it hurt most. He opened his mouth to say something back, but no words came out. Meanwhile, Natalie just stood there, face pale as paper, like she was watching everything collapse around her. People nearby had already stopped to watch. Whispers spread like ripples through the room. I felt a surprising wave of satisfaction. Their expressions were shifting like a stage performance unfolding in real time. I simply picked up the gift-wrapped necklace the clerk handed me and turned to leave. "Wishing you both everlasting happiness. And do the world a favor. Stop dragging anyone else into your mess." Chapter 9. At the New Year's Eve dinner table, my mom kept piling food into my bowl, chatting like usual, until she casually asked, "Why didn't you bring Natalie with you this year?" I said it lightly, like it was nothing. "We broke up." Her hand froze midair. What happened?" Everything looked fine. How did this suddenly become a breakup? I didn't want to unload all that mess on my parents during the holiday. But they kept asking. Again. And again. So eventually, I told them everything. How I had been stood up at the marriage registry 5 times. My mom slammed her hand on the table, trembling with anger. She's unbelievable. Losing you is her loss. Our gain. She puffed up her chest, furious, on my behalf. Don't be sad, son. I'll introduce you to someone better. Your dad knows families too. My dad jumped in right away. Yes. Your Uncle Lee's daughter is amazing. She even has a PhD. I exhaled and cut them both off gently. Mom, Dad, I'm leaving for London after the holiday. Please don't start trying to set me up. At that, my mom paused. Then she quietly picked up a piece of braised pork and placed it into my bowl. Eat more, she murmured. When you're in the UK, you won't have your mother's cooking. Her voice cracked. I lowered my head quickly, shoveling rice into my mouth to hide the burn in my eyes. And in that moment, I made myself a promise. I will work harder. I will succeed. And I will give them the life they always deserved. Chapter 10. After dinner, I was washing dishes when the doorbell rang. My dad frowned. Who comes over this late on New Year's Eve? He checked the peephole, and his whole expression shifted. Son, he said slowly. He hesitated. I dried my hands and walked over. Through the peephole, I saw her. Natalie. In the white down jacket I bought her last year. Holding gift bags, shivering in the cold hallway. My dad hesitated. Do you want me to let her in? No. I said it immediately. I don't want to see her. But she kept ringing. Again. 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 The sound echoed through the quiet house like it was clawing at the walls. My mom finally lost patience. It's the holiday. If she keeps ringing, the neighbors will complain. My dad sighed and opened the door, just a crack. Natalie, Kevin's not home. Go back. It's freezing. Her voice wavered. I know he's home. Please, Uncle, just let me see him. Her fingers, red and raw from the cold, clenched the doorframe. Just 5 minutes. I just want to explain. My dad looked torn. But before he could say anything, my mom stepped in front of him, arms crossed. Don't you have any shame? She snapped. You were dating my son while clinging to another man. And now you show up here begging? Have you no dignity? Natalie staggered back, completely stunned. My mom kept going, voice sharp enough to cut stone. My son treated you like a treasure, and this is how you repay him. My dad added firmly, take your gifts and leave. Don't come back. My mom pushed the door. A terrible omen on New Year's Eve, she muttered. Leave. Natalie tried to speak. Auntie, please, just let me talk to. But the door slammed shut before she could finish. Chapter 11. My phone buzzed with New Year greetings. Ryan called, sounding almost too excited. Boss. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, I said while zipping my suitcase. You're not going to believe this, he said, barely holding in laughter. Natalie stormed into the CEO's office today the moment she heard you got transferred to London. I paused. How had I never realized how reckless she could be? What did the CEO say? I asked. Oh, he kicked her out immediately. Said if she causes one more scene, she can pack and leave for good. I let out a small breath of relief. This second chance I earned. I wasn't going to let her ruin it. I stepped out onto the balcony. Down below in the snow was her silhouette. Natalie stood there, blowing into her hands, trying to warm them. Her nose red, tears frozen on her cheeks. Once upon a time, just a tiny scratch on her hand could make my heart ache. But now, my heart was still, completely silent. That pitiful expression, the trembling lips, the watery eyes. Once, that would have broken me. Now, it just felt absurd. If she cared this much, why didn't she choose me when she had the chance? I closed the balcony door. With it, the snow, the cold, and her were all shut out. Chapter 12. The next morning. Knock, knock, knock. Knock, knock, knock. I buried my head under the blanket, but the knocking cut through everything. My parents were out visiting relatives. Only I was home. The sound wouldn't stop. Annoyed, I threw the blanket off and went to the door. When I opened it and saw Natalie, my irritation flared instantly. Do you even know what time it is? It's New Year's Day, and you're banging on doors like this. What is wrong with you? She froze. I must have looked rough. Bed hair, messy clothes, irritation written all over my face. She wasn't used to seeing me like this. But that didn't matter anymore. She finally spoke, voice barely a whisper. Kevin, are you still mad? Mad? No. I didn't even have the energy to be mad. You don't have the right to make me angry, I said quietly. Her hands twisted together in her lap, voice small. I couldn't reach you. You blocked my number. You even took back the spare key. I regretted opening the door at all. I reached out to shut it, but she pushed her shoulder into the gap. Don't close it. Please, just talk to me. I have nothing to say to you. Then, I'm not leaving. If she stood outside the door like that, the neighbors would definitely talk. So I stepped back. Fine. Come in. I leaned against the sofa. She dragged over a chair and sat across from me, back straight, hands on her knees, like she was about to give a speech. She took a deep breath. Kevin, she said, let's get back together. I've thought everything through. I only ever saw Victor as a little brother. The one I've truly loved all along has always been you. For a second, I honestly thought I heard her wrong. But then irritation hit me like a punch to the chest. Who did Natalie think she was? She walked back and forth between people like the world existed just to orbit around her emotions. When she was wrapped up in Victor's attention, I was supposed to be mature, be understanding, and not be petty. But the truth was, I didn't want to be mature anymore. I was tired of swallowing the humiliation over and over. I just wanted to breathe. So I stepped aside and let her have the ending she clearly wanted. And now, suddenly, she had realized something. Now she wanted to play the role of the girl who had always loved me. She'd already caused a scene at work. And now she had shown up here, barging into my life again like it was her right. Who exactly did she think she was? Some kind of princess? I sat up a little straighter and met her eyes. Natalie, what makes you think I'll just stand here forever, waiting for you to come back? She looked completely lost, like she genuinely couldn't understand what I meant. She just kept talking, almost as if she had rehearsed the lines. Kevin, whether you believe it or not, the only person I've ever liked is you. That day at the mall, Victor was just trying to provoke you. I've never been in a relationship with him. Oh, really? Then how was she planning to explain all those innocent photos Victor had sent me? I pulled out my phone and held it right in front of her face, scrolling through the screenshots I had saved all this time, waiting for this exact conversation. You wear a camisole and cuddle with your little brother. You share a single straw with your little brother. You kiss your little brother. She didn't say a word. The color drained from her face. Fine, I said. Let's pretend all of that was just some elaborate plan to provoke me. Then what about everything before that? Was it my fault we never made that trip to Hawaii? Was it my fault we failed to register the marriage 5 times? I let out a breath I'd been holding in for years. Natalie, stop making excuses. Is it really that hard to admit you don't have boundaries with the opposite sex? You love this emotional tug-of-war. You string your little brother along while keeping your boyfriend tied to you. Tell me, don't you think that's disgusting? The words hit her where she hurt most. She flinched, not from guilt, but from refusing to accept the truth. Victor had crossed lines, sure. But every one of those lines was crossed with Natalie's permission. Sometimes even with her encouragement. The lingering touches, the closeness, the emotional ambiguity, right in front of me. And every time, she acted like I was the one being unreasonable. She was worse than Victor. I stood up. Not every mistake, I said quietly, can be fixed with a pathetic little I've thought it through. Her control snapped. She threw her arms around me, trembling, voice shaking. Kevin, I know I was wrong. Please, please don't leave me. But that touch, her body against mine, made my skin crawl. I tried to pull back, but she pushed harder, standing on her toes to kiss me. Just before her lips reached mine, I shoved her away. Hard. She stumbled, lost balance in her heels, and fell to the floor. She stared up at me like she couldn't believe what I had just done. 3 years of swallowing this same pain, 3 years of pretending, 3 years of lying to myself. The joke had always been on me. I grabbed her wrist, dragged her to the door, opened it, and pushed her out. She kept pounding and screaming. "Kevin, open the door. I really know I was wrong. We can go register the marriage tomorrow. Please." I didn't care anymore, not about the neighbors, not about how it looked. I couldn't share a room with her without feeling suffocated. I rubbed my temples, took out my phone, and scrolled down to Victor's number. "It's me. Natalie's outside my apartment having a meltdown. Either you come get her, or I'm calling the police." I didn't wait for his answer. I hung up. 20 minutes later, Victor showed up, breathless, furious, shouting. "He won't even let you in the house. He doesn't give a damn about you. Why are you still chasing him?" Natalie kept crying, yelling about how she loved me. Their voices fought back and forth for several minutes. I watched from the other side of the door as Victor finally dragged her into the elevator. And then silence. Chapter 13. Later, a friend told me Natalie had collapsed. She'd spent the whole night standing in the snow outside my building and ended up in the hospital with a high fever. Even in her delirium, she kept calling my name. People hinted, subtly, gently, asking if I wanted to go see her. I refused every time. Ryan later told me more. Natalie and Victor were still tangled in that messy orbit. Victor became obsessive, kept showing up at the company. Eventually, the CEO had enough and fired Natalie. I didn't ask about her again. I didn't care anymore. Now, I was sitting on a plane to London, leaving behind the past and the people tied to it. What waited for me was a clean new beginning.